In ancient Egypt, the Israelites suffered under the harsh rule of the Pharaoh. They lived as slaves, toiling day and night under the whip of their taskmasters. In their despair, the Israelites cried out to God for deliverance. God heard their cries and chose Moses, a man of Hebrew descent, but raised in the Pharaoh's palace, to lead them out of bondage. One day, while tending to his flock, Moses encountered a burning bush that was not consumed by the fire. From within the bush, God spoke to Moses, commanding him to go to Egypt and demand the release of the Israelites. Though initially reluctant, Moses obeyed and returned to Egypt, accompanied by his brother Aaron. Upon their arrival, Moses and Aaron approached the Pharaoh and delivered God's message: "Let my people go." The Pharaoh, stubborn and unyielding, refused. In response, God unleashed a series of plagues upon Egypt. The waters of the Nile were turned to blood, swarms of frogs, lice, and flies infested the land, livestock perished, and the people of Egypt suffered from boils. Hail rained down, locusts devoured crops, and darkness enveloped the land for 3 days. Despite the devastation, the Pharaoh's heart remained hardened. Finally, God proclaimed the last and most dreadful plague. The angel of death would visit every Egyptian household, taking the life of the firstborn. To protect the Israelites, God instructed them to mark their doorposts with the blood of a sacrificial lamb. This night came to be known as Passover, for the angel of death passed over the homes of the Israelites. Overcome with grief after the loss of his own firstborn son, the Pharaoh relented and allowed the Israelites to leave. Hastily, they gathered their belongings and set out on their journey to freedom. Guided by a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, the Israelites made their way towards the Promised Land. However, the Pharaoh soon changed his mind and pursued them with his army. Trapped between the approaching Egyptian forces and the Red Sea, the Israelites feared for their lives. But Moses, with faith in God's promise, stretched out his hand over the sea. Miraculously, the waters parted, creating a dry path for the Israelites to cross. Once they reached the other side, Moses again stretched out his hand, and the sea returned to its place, drowning the pursuing Egyptian army. Freed from their oppressors, the Israelites began their journey through the wilderness. Though their faith wavered and they faced many hardships, they remained hopeful, trusting in God's guidance to lead them to the Promised Land.